Welcome to the last Retort with Global Voice Broadcasting Studios. Today's episode is brought to you by Pacific City Escrow. Now, you're selling your house. You have documentation that you need done. There's one place you need to check out, and that's Pacific City Escrow down in Huntington Beach. So check them out, www.pacificcityescrow.com. Everybody, welcome. Your host, Chris Wiggins, and we got the great Van Lathan. I've been waiting to have you on for so long.
I appreciate that. That's a fantastic intro right there, man.
Look, I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. Like, you're trending, you're killing it, and you've done so much. And I used to watch TMZ on TV, first job out of college, I rushed home to watch it, and a lot of that was because of yourself. So,
thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very nice to say, brother.
Yeah, man. So thanks for being here.
No problem.
Yeah. So I did want to start out with TMZ, man.
Sure.
Like, just with your ascendance and everything. Like, so you started out leading the TMZ tour, and then you've obviously been prominently featured in the newsroom and everything. Tell me about that journey. Basically, sort of how'd you kind of get involved with TMZ?
So it's actually an interesting story. I was unemployed. And I was on unemployment, and the company I had been working for, which was actually right up the street here in Burbank, it was Capricorn Programs. They had gone belly up. Yeah. And I went to the gym one morning, and I went to the gym.
This wasn't Equinox then, right?
Wasn't Equinox. It was LA Fitness right over here in Hollywood. And so I went to the gym, and a lady stopped me and started asking me all these questions. And she started asking me all these questions, and she told me that if I did well in the questions she asked me outside the gym, that they would ask me back to a survey that you had to go out and do in Van Nuys. So I did well in the questions.
Now, did you know the lady? She just came up to you and she came
up to me with a camera.
She's like, "You're a black guy. Let me just come."
Exactly, right? And so then I go to this place out in Van Nuys, and they say, you're going to use all of these different products. Long story short, I was using one of the razors that they had out there for you to use because it was supposed to be like a survey, right? And then some guys jumped out, and they said, hey, would you like to try the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide Challenge? The whole thing was a commercial, and they were setting me up. So I made like a bunch of money.
Nice.
Because I was in the commercial.
Yeah.
But what happened is that because I made that money, it changed my sort of designation on my unemployment.
Oh.
Because your unemployment is based on how much money you make per quarter.
Yeah.
So a bunch of money to me was about $3,500, but they broke that up and said, oh, for 4 months you've made like X amount of money, and it took my unemployment down from $500 to $75.
Oh, good Lord! Yeah.
And so a week, and so I was like, yo, I gotta get a job.
Yeah.
Because I had been writing for various different blogs. I had a blog that was that Yardbarker had picked up. I was just doing nothing but writing, just trying to find something else. And literally the first job that I came up that was on entertainmentcareers.net was creating content and being a part of the TMZ tour. And I did it. I went in there. I met with a woman named Tiffany Drucker and a guy named Mike Leonardo, Tiffany was the production coordinator and Mike was running the tour. And we started developing it. And it was me and a couple other guides, and then we started doing the TMZ tour. Harvey saw my tour. He liked me, threw me on a show. That's that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think people have this sort of misconception that you just hop on the bus and you just point random things out, right? And so it's so to think sort of that creative aspect. What can you tell us more about that?
So for me, the tour was an exercise, right?
Yeah.
Because what you have to do in order to make a group of people have a good time for 2 hours varies depending on the bus that you're on.
Yeah.
And anywhere you are in life, you have to try to make the experience useful. So wherever you're at, you want to add a tool to your tool bag.
Yeah.
And so for me, what I liked about the tours was that these were people who didn't have a ton of information about the places they were going to see. They didn't have a ton of information about me, at least at first. So making a connection between myself and then to the city, it was a different goal every single time. Sometimes you get groups where the bus was going insane from jump. Sometimes you get groups where you'd have to pull the fun out of them. But it taught you how to talk to people, how to relate to people from all different types of places, and really how to, in a short amount of time, build a rapport with someone. And I think those are skills that sort of you can use outside of any specific job. They translate pretty well to life.
Yeah, right on, definitely. And so, how was the transition from sort of going to that, and then now obviously you're prominently in the newsroom, and then and forgive me for this. What's the TMZ that sort of that airs like before that full production one that you see at around 6:00, where it's like yourself, Charles, and
that's TMZ Live.
Okay, TMZ Live. All right, yeah. So that transition, right? How did you sort of handle that transition from being able to do all that?
I was on the show pretty early into my TMZ career, so like I started doing tours in like April or May, and then I was on the show by the end of June.
Okay.
I really hit with the show around the end of that year into 2012. I really started to become a thing on there, and then after that, I was doing the tour and being a camera guy, and being on the show till about 2013, the end of 2013.
Yeah.
And that's when I became a producer on the news desk as a part of TMZ Sports.
Yeah.
And once I was in office, that's when they started featuring me on TMZ Live.
Okay.
And TMZ Live, just the back and forth between Harvey, Charles, and I became a way for me to kind of because when you're in the big newsroom on the TMZ on television show, you're competing with everyone to try to get your deal in. And it's cool. We all know kind of there's a rhythm there. But on TMZ Live, it's like, boom, they come to you, you say your piece. So the audience gets a little bit more concentrated of whatever personality is speaking.
Yeah, definitely. Right on. Now, it's like I remember like when I started out watching it, like what's his name? Max was like blonde hair, right? He was like the most prominent, right? And then he left, right? And I was like, oh, wow, right? Yeah. And then it was like, and you were on at the same time, right? But then it kind of sort of shifted to like, all right, everyone's like, all right, this dude Van, like he brings the charisma, right? He brings the wittiness, he brings the urban perspective, obviously, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's just like, boom, like you took off. It seems like you've taken off like further than he ever did, right? Not to say that's a competition, right? But like that's what I've always found impressive, right? Because like they would say, hey, TMZ, they have the long surfer dude, right?
Yeah.
And then it became boom, it's Van, just like you would hit the spot, you would just hit the spot. Like, do you ever think about sort of how TMZ has really transformed journalism and like breaking news? Really?
Sure, it changed everything. I think that what Harvey and Evan and Charles set out to do was sort of break down the wall between the information that people are getting and the sources that they get it from. For a long time, celebrity news was covered as sort of a wink and a nod between the publicist and the celebrity. And the realities of celebrity life in America, the people that were most interested in them didn't really get a chance to get them.
Yeah.
So the news gathering that Harvey does, and I think he's one of the finest investigative journalists in the country, maybe the finest. The news gathering that Harvey and the rest of the team do, they do it in a way that's very specific, but also breaks stories that people care about.
Yeah.
Not anecdotes from shooting overseas, or not platitudes from people that are trying to get people to watch movies and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And not, by the way, not hit pieces, not trying to make anyone look in a specific way, just stories involving pop culture and celebrity that people actually give a damn about.
Yeah.
And they've been able to do that and sort of usher in a new era of how people view fame and notoriety.
Yeah, definitely right on. Now, obviously, you've hit sort of that mass appeal, critical mass, if you will, right now. Do you ever think, like, in terms of like sort of where you're at popularity now, right? And you did like so much like back in 2014, like you broke the Jonathan Dwyer story and the Quincy Enunwa and everything. Yeah. So do you ever think does it ever bother you that sort of that might get overshadowed sort of for the news and the headline that you've made this year?
No, because I don't really consider myself to be a journalist. I think that I'm a content creator. I think there are a lot of people at TMZ, Harvey, Evan Rosenblum, who is a fantastic journalist that is the head of the sports department. I think those guys have their feet more directly into the journalism world, and I look at myself as more of a content creator.
Yeah.
If you put me anywhere, I can find a way to make something interesting to someone. And so I think the challenge for me on the news desk is coming up with ideas and angles on stories that people will be interested in.
Yeah.
So I don't really it's not that I don't take pride in it.
Yeah.
But it's all part of the brand. So when one person breaks a story, it's really TMZ that broke the story.
Yeah.
So as long as there wasn't one person that broke Donald Sterling or one person that broke Jay-Z and Beyonce, the TMZ broke it.
Yeah.
So I don't take it, things that I say or things that I do on the show mean a lot more to me because those are my specific thoughts.
Yeah.
When the news gathering that we do, it's a team effort every single time.
Yeah, right on. Definitely. So obviously there's a bit of an elephant in the room. Anytime we talk to you, anytime anyone talks to you here this year, right? Going back to sort of the Kanye Candace Owens thing that happened within studio, right? You've gotten an outpouring of support in that regard, right? What type of flack have you caught in regards to that at all, right? Whether that's from TMZ or just like
there was no flack from
no
TMZ.
Flack. Okay.
Like TMZ, there was absolutely zero flack. I think that whenever I'm within the walls of the organization, I'm free and liberated to say whatever it is that I have to say, as long as it's not threatening or disrespectful to someone.
Yeah.
And so there's no muzzle or mute on you. If you're at TMZ, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
So no, there was no flack from them. I think I caught flack from people who, particularly fans of Kanye, and I'm a fan of Kanye.
Yeah.
That felt like I misinterpreted what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
Or that in some way I picked on him, or in some way he was trying to make a point, and I knew what he was trying to say, and I didn't, and I took it emotionally or something like that. But those people are few and far between, and they're entitled to their opinion anyway. Yeah. So if you think that I was out of line, I don't have any problem being accountable for it. I just thought in that moment that he said something that to me was egregious and a little dangerous and disrespectful. So we had a back and forth.
Yeah. Number one, I want to say thank you for doing that. Like, and I know you've gotten tons and tons of things, but I honestly can't thank you enough, because there's a level of, hey, this person has gravitas, right? And we appreciate them being in studio, right, to some degree, and to be able to go and say, you know what, look, number one, like, people aren't cool with confrontation. They think confrontation is a dangerous word, right? But confrontation can legit just mean, hey, I'm trying to get an understanding, right? And I'm asking why, right? Which is, and then that can go to, hey, you know what? I know that what you're saying is out of line, right? And so it takes a lot of courage to do that. So I really appreciate you doing that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, legit. That it's, people might say that this is hyperbolic or so, right? But it was Ali-esque, It's because, like, you want to show, like, Regis and Kelly, or no, sorry, that's not a show anymore. Kelly and Ryan, right?
Right.
If Kanye would go on that, right, and nobody would say anything, right, or any other celebrity would go on things, right. So to do what you did, right, and to use your platform for good, it was huge.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between them is that they need him.
Yeah.
And like, Kanye West has been a significant source of inspiration for me throughout my life. A source of inspiration, a source of information, a source of he's a cultural hero and a cultural giant, but I don't need Kanye West.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if you're a show, or if you're some sort of even musicians, people in his industry, they need him. To be in his aura means a lot of different things, and so they have to soft pedal things with him a little bit. There's a lot of politics that go into that, and that's completely understandable. That doesn't mean that those people aren't brave. That means that there are things that they can think, that they have to think about, that might supersede what they want to say to him right away. And they deal with a lot of other people. When he was there, it was, he had people with him, but in that moment, it was just me and him. And then he was in our office. Like, that's my turf. You know what I mean? And so, it just went the way that it went. And so, because I didn't feel like, oh, I need a drop from Kanye, or I need Kanye to be on my next show, or I want to do business with him in the future, because there was none of that. Just keep it real with him,
Yeah. Has there been any follow-up between yourself and Candace Owens, who I know was sort of prevalent there, but I guess she doesn't necessarily get talked about, right? Has there been any follow-up between yourself and her at all?
I've never spoken with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. Because, like, I know that a lot of her, you go on Twitter's like the worst, right? I mean, we all use it. It's the worst, right? I see like a lot of her followers. Wait, wow, dare, blah blah blah. They throw shots at watching like it's like her and Kanye and this other dude Larry Elder.
I've had back and forth with him before.
Yeah, okay. I was on his show, and not a good experience. Not a good experience.
Yeah, I've had back and forth with Larry. Listen, here's the situation. All of those people, this goes on both sides of the aisle. They're all entitled to their opinions, right?
Yes.
Like Candace Owens has a very specific platform that she believes she's doing a lot of good for. I think anytime someone is in the space of a Larry Elder or Candace Owens, or for that matter, a Rachel Maddow or anyone like that, you should try to cut through the rhetoric and get to the ideas.
Yeah.
And so if Candace Owens believes that, her platform right now is the whole Brexit thing, she wants to get people off what she calls the Democratic plantation. Yeah. Even a statement like that is so triggering in terms of the racial history in America. Yeah. And it attempts to rile up an emotion inside of Black people to make us think that we're slaves to someone. It's sort of an old game, right? Yeah. If there's a conversation to be had about whether or not supporting wholesale one political party is good for any group, it's a very important conversation, right? It's a very important thing to delve into. To use that sort of tone and to try to trigger people in that way, I don't know how useful it is, and I don't know how effective it can be, because you need the idea sort of without the circus. So I don't have any issue with Candace and what she does and what she says, but I think kind of the way that she does it is old hat, and it's not anything I haven't seen before at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I personally find it appalling, right? And there's like another guy, he went to my University of North Texas. His name's like Lawrence Jones. I don't know what's up with these Larry. These Larrys, right? Right. And it's like, hey, you guys, it's legit. I don't know why they get this. Hey, let's just use the plantation to rile them. Like they do it to rile it up and think like, oh, okay, right. And it's like you can be a black Republican and everything without having to like say that the other side is like on a plantation, right?
It's weird that they would try to trigger Black people in the same ways that have been done historically forever. It's weird that they would try to, there's information and statistics of the Black American experience, right? And while they don't sum up what goes on in our communities and what people are doing there every day, if you want to make a point about policy not being implemented in these communities, make the point. Don't make someone feel like they're lesser than because they have a certain political ideology, like they're a slave. It just doesn't, to me, it's weaponizing very old and coded language. That's not to say that their perspective doesn't need to be heard. That's not to say that at all. I mean, I think those conversations are healthy conversations so that we can get to what actually matters to people that need jobs and need to see the infrastructure of their communities, change. But all of this other stuff is just bluster and smoke.
Yeah, right on. I'm right there with you. Yeah. Now so you're pretty instrumental in TMZ Sports, and I see you're extremely knowledgeable about sports, right? You're an LSU guy, right?
I love LSU.
LSU, all right. Yeah. So all right, so Saints, LSU, and then I understand you're a Laker fan, right? Yes. How did that come to be?
So, interesting story. Like when I was the economy in Baton Rouge in Louisiana was real screwed up in the late 80s when I was a kid. And so for about 2 years, from like 90 to 92, we literally left a week and a half after the LA riots. We lived in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
And my father, who's a small business owner, my father ran a subcontracting company, so he was a cement finisher. And he was bidding a contract, and the guy was like, "Listen, I can't come here money wise, but I'll throw in." And this was kind of new to my dad because in Louisiana stuff like this doesn't happen because no pro sports teams besides the Saints. Yeah. And he goes, or at least there wasn't then. And he goes, sweeten the deal, I'll throw in 2 tickets to 3 Laker games.
Nice. Oh, nice.
And my dad was like, yeah. He was like, Magic Johnson? Like, well, yeah, sure, deal closing. So my dad, in 90, took me to 3 different games, and I got to see Magic Johnson play in the Forum.
Oh,
like,
nice.
Looking at Arsenio Hall, and like the seats were in
Forum Club days too, right?
Yeah, this is so looking at Arsenio Hall and Diane Cannon and Jack Nicholson, and I had no idea that these people were real. They only existed inside of the television for me. I had no idea that these were real flesh and blood people. So looking at all of them sitting there and just what the Lakers were, they represented for me what living in LA was all about, and sort of what transcending Louisiana, which is a state that I love, was all about. They represented sort of flash, but a lot of substance because they actually won. Yeah. And I've been a Laker fan ever since.
Now, was Shaq your favorite Laker due to the LSU and Laker connection?
You know what? It was Kobe, man.
It was Kobe.
I love Shaq because I went to see Shaq while he was playing in college. But it was Kobe, man. It was because Kobe was like around my same age. Yeah. I followed Kobe every single dribble, man. Every dribble of Kobe's, I've seen it.
All right. Are you a fan of Afro Kobe or sort of late, fade Kobe?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably late fade Kobe.
Late fade, okay. Yeah.
Because I like Afro Kobe, it just all came so easy because he was such a hyper athlete.
Yes. Yeah.
But I like when these guys get to the pinnacle and they have to figure out the game, when they've overcome some adversity, when it's a little hard, and when they're really fighting for legacy. Kobe in the last 2 championships was someone who was actually struggling to get out of the shadow of something. He was trying to prove himself as a solo ace. And he was able to do it, and so that was impressive to me.
Yeah. Now, I was I think I got a Nintendo 64 back in the day, right?
I did too.
NBA Courtside. That was the biggest rage, right? You have N64, right, and you can have Mario Kart and all that, right? But where I was growing up, if you didn't have Courtside, nobody wanted to fuck with you or come to your house, right? Yeah. So that was like the biggest thing. I was like, Mom, please get that, right? It's Kobe Bryant on the cover, right?
Yeah.
I was like, Jordan wasn't in the game, obviously, right? So just like, for me, it's always number 8, Afro Kobe.
Oh, Afro Kobe?
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, he was like Afro Kobe, like when he first got in the league, and even when Kobe wasn't putting up big numbers, because it took him a couple of years to really put up the big numbers, he I think went from like 8 points to maybe like 15 points, and then maybe he was starting to like really score up there. But every time like Afro Kobe would get the ball, he would just do something special.
Oh, yeah.
Even when he was just supposed to do a simple reverse layup, he would clutch it and dunk it. Because remember, he made the All-Star team even while not being a starter.
Yes.
He was just like savaging it every time, and you just knew that there was kind of something special about him.
Oh, yeah. He had that like really nasty dribble that he did in the All-Star game too, right? Behind the back, and just Marv Albert's just freaking out.
Yep.
It's like, ooh, completely unfair.
Yes.
Right. Like, I was just like, what? I didn't have cable. I saw this on NBC. I was like, oh my Lord. I was like, this is why I need this game, right?
Kobe was the man.
Yeah. It was him and I was a big Eddie Jones fan also.
I loved him too. Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel, Cedric Ceballos a little bit before those guys.
Eldon Campbell was on the team too.
Eldon Campbell, who whenever Shaq would be out of the lineup, Eldon Campbell would regularly give you like 19 and 10. Eldon Campbell, great player. But yeah, they had some great teams there in LA, man.
Oh yeah. Those are good days. All right, now you're a Saints fan.
Yes,
obviously. Who's your favorite Saint ever?
Ooh, good question. My favorite Saint ever.
I think you're gonna say Joe Horn, aren't you?
Joe Horn, Jesus Christ. It would either be Pat Swilling.
Oh, this is This is throwback.
I've been a Saints fan for a long time.
Okay, yeah.
It'd be either Pat Swilling or Drew.
Okay, right on. Now,
Drew lost a couple of points for all the All Lives Matter bullshit.
Okay, yeah.
But I love Drew Brees, man.
Yeah,
love Drew Brees.
No, yeah. I grew up in San Diego, like right around the time he was starting, and like was never a Charger fan or anything, right? But like everyone hated him, and I remember I got my first job.
Why'd they hate him?
Well, I think the first 2 years when he's behind Flutie, and like he wasn't as accurate as he was now.
He was just okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And like at that time, like everyone thought, like, we had Stan Humphries, Jim Harbaugh, Ryan Leaf, and people were like, "Oh, this is probably not going to go well." They signed Flutie, right? And then Brees came in, birthmark on his face and everything, right? Was a little bit inaccurate, and they were trying to run him out of town, right? Then I remember that first year that Rivers got drafted, that year Rivers got drafted, and then Brees had a breakout year, right? To let you know, hey, young pup, you ain't taking my thing, right?
Yeah.
I was like, this dude is nasty, right? and like I was like, you know what? I was like, I hate the Chargers with a passion, but I was like, I'm definitely rocking with Brees.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he finally went to the Saints, I could start rooting for him. You know
what's crazy?
What's that?
Is Drew Brees' career is both proof of destiny, and in sort of the just the luck. And because like look at everything that had to go right for Drew Brees to become who he was. Even when Drew Brees was in San Diego and he was playing well.
Yeah.
He was playing well, like 29 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. We're not talking about like
5,400 yards.
Yeah, like none of that
77%.
stuff. So Drew Brees separated his shoulder, an injury that is very, very dicey for a quarterback, of his throwing shoulder, right?
Yeah.
And it led to him getting paired with the coach that would turn him into an NFL legend.
Yeah.
And going to a city that had never won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so all of those things, like it obviously he worked for it and he's got all the tools, but it always makes me think of how many athletes out there that put them in a different situation or give them a different set of circumstances if they could have done similar things to what Drew did. Because there's no doubt about the fact that if Drew's not with Sean Payton, then it's a completely different situation.
Oh, yeah. Nick Saban would have ruined him.
Yeah, Nick Saban would have ruined him, you know, because Dante Culpepper goes down there, and at the Saints fans will lie now, but they fucking wanted Dante Culpepper. The guy had thrown for 4,900 yards, you know what I mean? So but looking at it now, it was supposed to happen that way. That's just what was supposed to happen. He was supposed to go down as an all-time great, and we were supposed to win that Super Bowl so many years after, you know, such terrible things had gone on in New Orleans. So, you know, I'm happy to have Drew Brees. I'm happy he separated his shoulder.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, you know what? Like, Culpepper seemed like at that time, I remember, I think I was in high school or just graduated high school around the time, right? And I was like, all right, Culpepper seems like he fits in New Orleans. You guys had like a string of brother quarterbacks around that time. Jeff Blake, Aaron Brooks.
Jeff Blake, yeah.
Yeah, right. And I was like, this is supposed to happen, right? I was like, this is like I was like, you guys are sort of like the Minnesota Vikings. You're a dome team that always has brother quarterbacks, right? And so when Brees got there, I was like, oh wow. I was like,
right. I didn't know what to think, and then it was weird because at that same time, Colson comes into the league, and
Marcus Colston.
Colson comes into the league, and we draft Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
And all of these things happen, and I'm like, yo, because I was expecting Reggie Bush to be the guy. I was like, you know, even if Brees gets here and he sucks, we can hand it off to Bush a million times. And Bush didn't become that type of runner, but he became the perfect type of guy that the Saints really needed. Kind of like almost Alvin Kamara before Alvin Kamara. Doesn't run the ball as well as Kamara, but still. And so everything just kind of came together, and then, you know, what we've gotten for the last 12 or 13 seasons is simply the best Saints football that we've ever gotten.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm a Giants fan, so I'm jealous.
You guys won 2 Super Bowls in that same time.
I mean,
2 Super Bowls.
Like,
we won 1 Super Bowl.
We're not in danger of winning.
I know, I'm just saying, but you guys won 2 Super Bowls. You fucking greedy New York Giants fans, like, you guys won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
you beat Tom Brady twice.
Yeah, see, the thing is, like, I feel like if we had Drew Brees, we'd have 5 Super Bowls.
Maybe, but you won 2 and you ended an undefeated season.
Yeah, I know.
What more do you want? 2 Super Bowls, man.
Consistency.
Maybe that's
you know,
something
like,
important.
there's this stat that the Giants fans, like, I hate Giants. I'm a Giants fan, but I hate Giants fans, like, with a passion. They trot out, we're the only team that's won a Super Bowl in the last 4 decades. I was like, okay. I was like, we never go back-to-back. We rarely go back-to-back in the playoffs. I was like, that's the most worthless stat ever. Like,
but it does mean, though, it might be a worthless stat in the grand scheme of things, but it does mean that if you're a Giants fan, you don't have to wait quite so long for your team to win a Super Bowl. Like, you're just a couple of years away every single time, man. You're not like the fucking Eagles or any of those other teams that like have 1 Super Bowl in their illustrious history.
Yeah.
So, or like the Saints, but you just know that even right now, think about it. The Giants suck, but you guys are only a couple of years away.
Yeah, I feel like that was just like sheer happenstance that we did that, because like nothing about the way this team looks like that it's gonna improve right now. Like,
you don't think so? You guys got weapons.
We have a terrible owner.
You got Ingram. You got Odell Beckham Jr.
You got Louisiana's finest Odell Beckham.
Yeah, so you guys got
Louisiana's worst Eli Manning.
Right. Well, look, that's a Hall of Famer, bro.
Yeah.
It's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
man.
that's true. Yeah,
He can't play anymore, but he had a great career.
yeah. It's all right. If he leaves, I would feel a lot better about what can happen. We need another Louisiana quarterback to come.
Well, actually, you need Josh Herbert.
The Oregon QB or so. Okay, yeah.
Big,
Justin
strong
Herbert.
kid.
Justin
No,
Herbert.
excuse me.
Yeah, Justin Herbert. Yeah,
Josh said Josh.
Yeah.
Big, strong kid, big arm. He might be better off with another year. He fucking shit the bed at Arizona last week.
You trust Pac-12 quarterbacks?
And Jared Goff's doing pretty well.
All right, I'll give it. Yeah, all right, yeah. Him and Aaron Rodgers, right? Yeah, that's
yeah.
So Cal QBs and then Andrew Luck.
Just don't draft anybody from SC.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
True.
Like those are the only guys that really mess it up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I do have a question sort of in regards to sports and TMZ,
Sure.
right? Again, do you ever find yourself like you guys don't go after the college kids at all, right? It seems like
In terms of what?
like in terms of coverage, right? Like how often do you guys find yourselves like, hey, you know what, this scandal happens, right? Like whether that's Louisville or you guys.
We cover those stories. I think
Yeah.
with the college kids, they're less individuals, right?
Okay.
Like so, whenever a college kid gets in trouble, it's normally because he broke the law or because there's a team scandal that you cover.
Yeah.
In the pros, those guys have their own business managers. They do things off the court. They go and they act in movies. They go and they go to the club and they spend a bunch of money. They do all kinds of things that you can cover because they're more individuals. As far as the college kids go, there are so many rules that involve NCAA athletes. It's very rarely that they're going to do anything interesting that doesn't have to do with the sport that they're playing.
Okay, yeah.
So there's probably less fruit for us there.
All right, we need more Lawrence Taylors in college.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, right? Like, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, like that would have been a huge story.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
But if and obviously we don't want any college kids to turn to Lynn Bias. But,
You're right. Yeah, that was poorly worded.
Right. It is for those guys, unless there's going to be some kind of recruiting scandal or something like the Louisville situation, or somebody gets in trouble with the law, it's probably not going to be much for us to cover.
All right, yeah. All right, Rick Pitino's returning to coaching, or he's trying to get back into the NBA. We legit need him. Like I'm a Clipper fan, so like if Doc Rivers leaves and Rick Pitino, that's going to be so much fodder for TMZ because Rick Pitino's always in some stuff.
He always is fucking up. I don't understand why Rick Pitino would get another shot at coaching.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe in the pro. I mean, even when he was in the pros, he was horrible.
Yeah, well, he was okay with the Knicks.
No, he was okay the first time with the Knicks. Actually, he was good with the Knicks.
Yeah, terrible with the Celtics.
So terrible with the Celtics. But so I guess the last time he was horrible. But like Rick Pitino has proven that he's not. It's not like he's not a great human being.
Yeah. What's with Louisville? It's Louisville coach because they had Bobby Petrino was in like I was like what?
That was
the
great.
Names are similar, right?
Bobby Petrino was out here getting it. That was great.
Yeah.
I can't even hate on him for that, man.
Yeah, I had some buddies that played at Arkansas back when I was in college, right? I knew them from Dallas. They're at Arkansas. They heard about Petrino.
You're from Texas?
No, San Diego. I went to the
Diego.
University of North Texas. Got a football team, right? Like only during the summer, right? It's, so that's enough to like. Yeah, I was like, I can't do that.
Right.
Yeah, right. Spread offense, 105 degrees, right?
Tough.
Yeah, it's just awful.
Right.
It's just like wow, right? And this is like pre-concussion stuff. So like if you hit your head, right, they put like a washcloth on you and they go sit on the bench, right?
Yeah.
In the 110 degree heat.
Right.
Yeah.
Chill out so you can throw up over there.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, wow. Everyone's like, oh, you San Diego boys, all right? Yeah. I was like, all right. They're like, why don't you go wear a rainbow and everything like that and a tutu? And
right. Yeah. It's like, no, my brain is bruised.
Yeah.
My nigga, like, chill. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not that I'm being soft. I have a bruise on my brain.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm nauseous.
Yeah.
Chill.
And your walk on, so you don't have the tutors that they get, right? So you're not gonna get a 3.5 just by being on the team, right?
So you need your brain to pass your classes.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I was like, this is not like a Power 5.
Right. So it's like I'm not putting it on the line for you guys anymore.
Yeah. So there I met a bunch of dudes that were playing at Arkansas or so, and then like I remember when Petrino got hired, and then they're just like, oh, this is like. What do you call it? What is this? 2007, right? So yeah, hold on. What was it? Yeah. Whenever he got to Arkansas, right? And they were just like, oh, this guy's a crook and he's disgusting and blah blah blah, right? And I was like, yeah, that I don't know what Louisville was thinking bringing him back. Like,
well, I mean, look, it's very difficult to go from relevancy to obscurity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy on the school economically. It's
Yeah.
not easy on the psyche of the fans. I mean, once you've become a football power, like the people in Nebraska right now are freaking out. You know what I mean? Because for Nebraska to go 0-5 or 0-6 or whatever they were, I say end of the world, sky's falling, especially for the fans that have been around since Tommy Osborne and Lawrence Phillips and Tommy Frazier and all of those guys that.
Amon Green.
Amon Green, all of those people, like, they're freaking out. So if Bobby Petrino can get Louisville back to relevance, they're going to take a chance on it. To be honest with you, I think it's going to be a couple of years here that you're going to see Art Briles coaching somewhere again.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It is, but I just wouldn't see anything. I think Art Briles takes a small job, maybe at a JUCO somewhere, just for a school that needs a name, needs to make a splash, and it doesn't really. And then he'll say what people believe to be the right things, and you'll see Art Briles coach again.
Yeah. Baylor's another just tunnel of terror school, right? Like, I'm biased since my school was on the I-35 as well. But Baylor, it's like they have the Patrick Dennehy situation,
that was
right?
Horrible.
Then Bill Clinton's prosecutor becomes their president of the university, and then then this Art Briles, then they're scant, right? It's just off. I don't know what these schools are doing.
I mean, the Art Briles situation just shows just how grotesque things have become because. Everybody thinks the fans care about tradition.
Yeah.
Okay. But to the school, tradition just translates into money.
Yeah.
And so the fans want to win because the fans want to see a product on the field that makes them proud of where they're from, especially in college football. Like when LSU does well, that makes me proud of I'm from Baton Rouge. That makes me proud of Baton Rouge. It makes me proud. That's my team. You know what I mean? But that translates into me buying more LSU shit, flying in for games, doing all of that stuff. LSU going to bowl games, getting huge payouts from sponsors and stuff like that. So, at the end of the day, Art Briles and the brass over at Baylor turn a blind eye to numerous sexual assaults and cases of sexual misconduct for money. And it's disgusting. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I'm gonna do like the most odd transition because there's no way to transition out of that and everything. Look, now I looked at you on a lot of things hip hop also.
Okay,
right?
Fuck with it.
Yeah, like what's been your favorite album this year?
We were just talking about that. Victory Lap, Nipsey Hussle.
Ooh, okay.
I just listened to Vince Staples, who's one of my favorite rappers. I was listening to it on the way over here. It's hard. But
you feeling the West Coast artists.
I like the West Coast. So my favorite albums of this year were T.I.'s album I thought was great. Daytona, Pusha T I thought was fantastic. Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap. Freddie Gibbs, Gibbs, underrated MC.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
And so
great voice.
Those J-Rock as well. So those were some of my my favorites. But I think the best album of the year is Nipsey. And Lupe, don't let me not leave out Lupe Fiasco, crazy as well.
Yeah.
But my favorite album was Victory Lap.
I was all over Astroworld. Like I still am.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. Legit. I was telling people when it came out, right? It's Spotify comes up, right? And it's just like, hey, you listen to whatever comes out for a day, and then I keep going back to Astroworld for some reason.
Astroworld was great.
Yeah.
Astroworld was eclectic. It was genre bending. Obviously, Sicko Mode might be the song of the year.
Yes.
But yeah, Astroworld was fantastic. It was great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Now you got a podcast. All right. You got the Red Pill. Right. Sorry. Let me put some respect on the name. Red Pill Podcast. Right. Yeah. Who's been your favorite guest thus far?
Nick Cannon.
All right. Yeah. That was just recently, right?
Yeah. Obviously, I had my man Charlemagne on there. I've had Dame Dash. I've had Kareem Burke. I've had Amanda Seales, Jamila Lemieux.
Go back to Amanda Seales. She was was she on okay? Was she on that show My Brother and Me back in the day?
I think she was, yeah.
Oh yeah, she played Dion maybe.
Yeah, Nickelodeon, yeah.
Oh, okay, yes, all right, yeah. Because I've seen her. I was like she looks so familiar, right?
She's been active for a long time.
Yeah. And I was just like, I was like, she legit looks like that little girl. All right, okay, so
Right.
she's on My Brother. That is great.
Right.
Did you guys talk about that at all?
No, we didn't.
No, okay.
No,
she
we
probably
didn't.
doesn't want to talk about
Right.
that.
No, I mean, she
Yeah.
wouldn't mind. Amanda is an open book.
Yeah.
But Nick Cannon, the conversation I had with Nick Cannon was so lively, and he's such an incredible communicator.
San Diego.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
And
yes.
he's so unafraid to be himself, man.
Mhm.
You know, controversial topic. Nick gives you his real opinion. He's not afraid to be confident, but at
Yeah.
the same time, he's a very humble brother that's accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
I just enjoy talking to him, man. And
Definitely.
and of all the people that I've met since all of this craziness has happened, I'm happy to kind of know him. He's a good dude, man.
Yeah. See, San Diego doing it strong, you know?
He's good. Yeah, man. San
Yeah.
Diego. I didn't even know he was from San Diego until we did the podcast.
Yeah, it's him and I think him and Reggie Bush is from they're both Spring Valley. I
Yeah,
believe.
Reggie
Yeah.
Bush. I knew that. You ever see Reggie Bush's high school highlight reel?
So I actually went to the rival high school. He went to Helix High, right? And I
With
went
Alex
to
Smith.
Yeah, Alex Smith. Yeah, Bill Walton went there too, I think, and Dennis Hopper, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like obviously these are they're
Yeah.
older, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, our Oceanside High used to play them in the championship all the time.
Didn't
Then I
Junior
also-
say I'll go to Oceanside?
He did?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Then I also went to Vista High School. I went to a few high schools and everything.
Fucking troublemaker?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right, this guy-
Suspensions for
Right.
days.
Right.
I think I had like 9 suspensions by the time
Oh
I
my
graduated high school.
God! Yeah, you
Yeah.
miscreant,
Yeah,
social deviant.
It was. Hey, everyone thinks that like, oh, San Diego's just like they think of it just a beach and everything like that, right? It's like I'm from the inland, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's like the hills and like there's drunk Marines and like
Yeah.
you know there's Samoan gangs and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, we would. So yeah, I remember freshman year Reggie Bush came down. Oceanside beat him, right? And then it was just a spectacle. Everyone's like, all right, well, we don't care about like who wins, right? We want to see Reggie Bush because he was just the rage, right? He
Right.
was like this was the same time LeBron James was in his senior year, right?
Right.
And it's like Reggie Bush was the LeBron James for San Diego, basically,
Mhm.
right? So everyone would just pack stadiums, right? You're a freshman, right? You had to pay scalpers to see him, right? So we
Yeah.
saw that we would see the highlights. And I went to see like 4 different games, right? It's it's just amazing.
It was
right.
stupid. Listen, everyone that can hear my voice, go look up. There are 3 high school highlight reels that are the most impressive. Reggie Bush's,
Mhm.
Darnell Dockett's,
Mm.
and oh my God, Jadeveon Clowney's.
Yeah.
Jadeveon Clowney's high school highlights. Jadeveon is on defense. Jadeveon is at running back. Jadeveon takes snaps at QB sometimes.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah.
Like Jadeveon, in a Wildcat, but Jadeveon Clowney just like he's a guy that big running a 4.4. You feel sad for some of the kids. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, but those are the 3 in football at least that were the most shocking. But we sometimes we watch them at work and just laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no, I remember we'd watch the little local access channel, right? If you couldn't go to the Reggie Bush game, you watch local access on Friday, right? And so instead of watching TGIF, I don't know if it was still around back then, right? And it was just like we got to watch Reggie play. Grainy videos, right? Like taking with barely taking with a flip phone, right?
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
that was all the rage. Back to your podcast and everything. Sort of, what was the impetus on doing it? You started this year, if I'm not mistaken.
I started
right?
this year, yeah.
Okay, right, yeah. So what had you interested in starting it?
I had been on my podcast is with Loudspeakers Network, and I had been on Charlamagne and Andrew's podcast, Brilliant Idiots. Shout out to Schultz and shout out to Charlamagne, my really good friends of mine, and there was some interest from them in me doing a podcast. And I just wanted to know whether or not I could sit down and be the A mic in a situation and like control a conversation and, really get to the core of who these guests were.
Yeah.
So it was important for me to make sure that I could do it.
Yeah.
I felt like I could do it, but the podcast, more for anything, because in a situation with TMZ, the rhythms are sort of there for you. You know that what's going on, and you've been there for a long time. After a while, it becomes sort of mechanical, like a routine. Not that you don't like your job, but just that we're in cruise control there.
Yeah, exactly.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday. And the podcast was a way for me to once again add more tools to my bag and try different things and book different guests, and get people to come out that maybe wouldn't have come out before. So it was something that I really wanted to do, and it's been going really well.
Right on. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've checked it out. I've enjoyed the listen. You're relatable to the guests, right? And you got a great rapport with them, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I
you
love
keep it
that, man.
100 too.
Yeah, listen, I love it.
Yeah.
I like really sitting down with somebody, especially during an interview, and trying to get to the core of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody walks into an interview and they bring a lot of shit with them.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes dudes come in and they have entourages with them and they have all kinds of different situations, but they bring a lot of shit with them.
Yeah.
They bring their profession, they bring their experience. I like getting down to the one-on-one level, the you're there, I'm here, let's talk as people, to try to get somebody's real perspective on things. It's a lot of fun for me. I find it very, very enriching.
Definitely, right on. Now, I wanna do some Baton Rouge talk though.
Let's do it.
Right? Yeah. So you guys, I used to go down to the Riverboat Casino, or maybe it's not called a Riverboat Casino. You
It
guys,
is.
yeah, okay, Riverboat Casino.
The Belle of Baton Rouge.
Yes, the Belle of Baton Rouge. Yeah, I used to
Yes.
go down there. I enjoyed it. Right.
Right.
It was this is back in the Texas days, right? You
Right.
go to Shreveport and you go, this city's okay, right? Good crawdads, right? And then
Shreveport sucks. But shout out to Port City, man. But you don't wanna
when you're
fuck with
20,
Shreveport.
like $19.
Yeah.
I was like Shreveport's cool.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Texarkana.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, we go. Look, we go to Baton Rouge, right? Because we went to Death Valley Saturday night one time.
Oh,
right?
fantastic.
21
Yeah.
years old, right? And
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh my, I was like this. I understand why they call this a sportsman's paradise, and I was like, I understand why kids go to school here,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But you guys crank out a lot of talent in that city, though.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so you guys got Lil Boosie,
Yeah.
all right? Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah.
What's Trump's girl's name? She's from there too. Stormy Daniels.
Is
Stormy
from
Daniels,
Baton Rouge.
right? You got yourself.
Mhm.
And then Don Lemon's from there, right?
Yeah. Went to LSU.
Okay. How the hell do y'all do that? Right?
Well, I think that New Orleans has a fantastic amount of talent as well, but I think that in Baton Rouge specifically, it's the town is sort of the brain of the state, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the state
capital, right?
It's the capital. Yeah. It's the brain of the state. Like the culture that is Southern Louisiana culture exists there, but there's also an exposure to a real sort of structure, and people vibe different in Baton Rouge than they do in other parts of the state, and it makes them a little bit. It throws your interests all over the place. Yeah. Like Soderbergh or Lemon or Boosie, they represent all different parts of the city, but in almost like kind of the same way.
Yeah. Like
you see sort of an unapologetic Boosie and his mannerisms and the way that he is. I went to high school with him.
Ah, okay.
And Soderbergh and his art, and then Don Lemon and his opinions.
Yeah.
And like people from Baton Rouge, there's not a lot of dick riding there. Mm-hmm. Like people don't really fuck around. Like a lot of things, just are that I see around here. They're frowned upon there. Mm-hmm. Like I remember, if you were on somebody too hard, like when I was growing up, like they'd make a sound, they'd be like, "And that get off his dick." You know what I mean? Like so it's like for us, it sort of the independence, and the self-starting nature. Webby's from there, Kevin Gates, all of that.
H-Rap Brown, right?
H-Rap Brown, got it. H-Rap Brown as well. All of that.
Warwick Dunn's from there too, right?
Warwick Dunn is from there. His mother, Betty Smothers, Lynn Whitfield, a lot of people. So, to be a smaller place, I think just independent thinking.
Yeah.
And the willingness to kind of go it alone.
Yeah.
That's kind of something that Baton Rouge has.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I was looking at this, I was like, good Lord. I was like, just per capita, just like destroying. And the people that come there is like just like a level of vibrance and intelligence in it, Y'all
yeah, man. It's just listen, it's a place where there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot of like I said, it's a functional city. New Orleans is obviously a bigger place, and obviously as far as art goes, it's just tough to beat New Orleans, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? But for any city, I don't care where the fuck you're from, it's just tough to beat New Orleans. That's my favorite
vacation spot.
It's amazing, right? But in Baton Rouge, it's about getting down to business, and that's kind of what it is that we do there. We can't, because we have a little bit less of the flavor that you get in New Orleans. We kind of get to the money.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of spirit you see in all of these people.
Yeah, right on. Now it's now your sister is I've seen she's an activist as well.
She is.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that, right?
Well, she is actually one of the people who helped me formulate my brain. Like
Okay.
my sister, Ebony Lathan, is a poet. She's someone who I have a tremendous deal of respect for because she's the bravest person I've known, right? So my sister had the bravery not only to share her art with the world, but her lifestyle. You know, she in Baton Rouge, being a lesbian is one of the harder things that you can do.
Yeah.
And I watched her go through that, and I watched her sort of legislate everyone's different opinions and kind of deal with those things, and just so unapologetically her, and so brilliant and so fierce and so protective. She's like everything about a Southern woman, and a rebellious soul, like wrapped up into one. And you know, my mother has that, my father has that, but really, inside of my sister is just this unbelievable need to help people, and also to love them.
Yeah.
And so part of the activist streak in her is just from the fact that she hates to see people suffer.
Yeah.
She hates to see people in a situation that they can't escape, and that's outside of their control. So for me, when I'm out, the longer I'm out here and the more I accomplish, the more I start to think, yo, man, people need to get off their ass and do this and blah, 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 blah. And she just always reminds me how blessed I am.
Yeah.
And she works with people. She works in the mental health field, and how some people have it. And so how so many Americans of all different races are still behind the 8-ball. And before we encourage them to do what we think that they need to do, we need to remember the situations that they're in and try to maybe give them a little bit of extra help.
Yeah. Yeah, right on. Now, and so one other thing I wanted to get into is like, so you went through some pretty extreme weight loss previously and everything, right? What spurred that, and what motivation you provide to others that are looking for that?
Yeah. So what made me lose weight was that my body started talking to me at maybe like 24, 25.
Okay.
You know, my body started saying, "Yo, I'm unhealthy." And whereas a lot of people sort of take those things and just deal with them, right?
Yeah.
Your knee starts hurting. Oh, I got a bad knee. Your heart rate like kind of rises when you get out the car or something like that. Yeah, whatever, man. For me, there were just very palpable signs that this wasn't going to be a way that I could live for a long period of time. And plus, you know, it was mentally debilitating to me. Like there are people all over this country that are larger size, all over this world that are larger size, that are free and sexy and beautiful and confident and stuff like that. I wasn't one of them. I was someone who felt, you know, sort of trapped inside of my body, and like I was sort of a shell, and not really living out loud, and not really doing some of the things that I wanted to do. So one day, sort of all at once, I just decided, fuck it. However long it takes, I'm going to commit myself to losing as much weight as I can. I didn't know how much it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be 30 pounds, 40 pounds, whatever. I ended up losing 140 pounds.
Oh, nice. Right on.
And so but it was like, it taught me so much about myself. You know, I have a book coming out about it. Like, it taught me so much about myself. One reason why people can't really make change in their lives, from my observation, is because it's very difficult when you have to make a long-term change. It's very difficult to see the change happening.
Yeah, at that immediate point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you can't see it. Like, you have to fall in love with the work. You have to, like, there are certain days that you would go to the scale and you only lost like 0.3 pounds, and you're like, yo, I didn't eat shit and I'm working my ass off. But you have to love the process. You have to be proud of the fact that you made healthy choices. You have to be proud of the fact that you worked out. You have to be, like, all the times you see me putting exercise videos on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm doing that because I am ecstatic
Yeah.
that I'm getting up and getting moving. I'm ecstatic that I'm taking control of my body and my health and my blood pressure and all of those things. You have to love it, because if not, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
You're gonna get discouraged, and you're just gonna run out of gas for it. You know what I mean? So for me, it was really one of the first things in my life that had to do with me transforming, that I committed to, and I had to see to the end. And I was in it so much that I didn't even realize when it happened. I decided to lose weight, and I started in January of 2007. And that Christmas, I visited Baton Rouge. And I the reaction was ridiculous. Like people freaked out. But for me, I was so locked into what it is that I was doing that I had completely I completely forgotten that I was even doing it.
Yeah.
And it's become a lifestyle then, and I've been able to keep the weight off.
No, right on. Like, mad props to you on that.
Appreciate you.
That's almost 12 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah, almost 12 years been maintaining it. Like, I think that, maybe I'm speaking out of sort or so. I think that can be like the hardest part, right? It's like, all right, I've reached that goal, right? And then you don't make it a continuous goal, right? Like my dad's like a big time alcoholic, and he's finally getting treatment now.
Good for
right?
him, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but it's like I see with a lot of people, it's like, hey, you know what? I stopped, right?
Right.
And then just they reach that milestone,
Right.
and then they forget sort of, all right, that falling in love with the work, right?
Right.
Maybe that part gets met. Like, I don't want to say that it's luck that they hit that milestone, right? And then it continues and they go back to where they started or so. But they didn't fall in love with that work almost, like you mentioned.
You know what was good for me?
Yeah.
Is I became a new person when I lost weight. Meaning I got back on the basketball court.
Yeah.
And I added all kinds of things to my life that I simply cannot do if I'm overweight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like even being on TMZ now, being on TMZ keeps me in shape. I see myself on television. I see myself in different media. Like, part of my identity now is this body.
Yeah.
And so when you've made a consistent change, you have to invest into the new you. And sometimes for people, they're not really losing weight or making a change in their lives for themselves. They're doing it for perception for other people. They're doing it for the way that they look. But if you do it for you, you'll find ways to benefit from it a little bit easier, and you'll want to keep that up. And I think that is an important journey for anyone that's trying to lose weight or make any type of life change, to understand how is being sober going to change your life. How is being thin and healthy going to change your life? How is being smarter, more active in your community? How is it going to change your life? And once it changes it, you're not going to want to go back, because it would be sacrificing something.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I'm from Louisiana. I like to eat.
There's some great food down there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I had to eat today was I ate some oatmeal in the morning, and I ate a little meal prep in the middle of the day. I would love to have a fucking po' boy right now.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I'm saying?
Yeah, me too.
But I'm going to go home and I'm going to run. I'm going to box. And tomorrow I'm going to get a little loose. So you just have to figure out what works for you and stick to it.
Right on. So you got the book coming out. What can we expect out of that?
The book is about all the things in my life that are better since I lost weight.
Okay.
And they're weird things that you don't realize that you're not really doing. Like shopping's better. It's when having a negative body image affects you in so many ways that you don't even realize it, right?
Yeah.
Like, everybody else is spending all this time in the mall, they're getting clothes, they want to look great, right? You know that going to try things on is going to be tough, so you don't do it.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of little things that are just a lot easier, because I believe this. I believe that everyone knows what it takes to lose weight. You have to burn more calories than you consume. If I put you on Survivor for 6 weeks, you'd lose weight, because there's not enough food on the island or the beach, wherever the fuck they do that shit at, for you for you to eat. So everyone knows what they have to do. Really, what they don't have is the motivation to stick with it. And if I could show them sort of how life is on the other side, not how you look, because everyone's going to look different, but how you're going to feel different. Little things in your life that you're going to feel different. Like, there was a point where getting on a bus, just getting on a bus, public transportation, you got to sit down, you're going to take up space, you're going to sit next to somebody, they're going to shoot you a glance. All of those things hurt, and they hurt every single day, and they bother you, and you notice them. You know what I mean? If you don't like that body that you're in, like I said, some people, it doesn't matter to them. All of these things are just a little bit easier, and I highlight them in what I think is a comedic way and what I think is an engaging way, and just in a way that lets people know, yo, dedicate 8 or 9 months of your life to the rest 80 or 90 years of your life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or no, that's a long lifespan. Or like 50 or 60 years of your life. You'll thank yourself.
Yeah. Right on. So when can we expect the book?
Right now, probably sometime in 2019. Book agent, Dupree Miller. I'm in New York next week. All kinds of meetings, so it'll be out probably next year.
All right, well, we're definitely excited for that. We do have to wrap up. But,
cool.
Look, it's definitely been fun. But tell everyone where to find. I mean, they see you on TMZ and everything.
Right.
I know everyone's like following you on Instagram, but just let them know where to catch you, where to catch the podcast and everything.
The podcast is anywhere you get your podcasts: SoundCloud, Apple, Google Play. All of those platforms. It is Van Lathan's The Red Pill. And then at Van Lathan on Twitter and Instagram. I am very social media active. Slide in my DMs, not to holla, but just to talk to me. I'll answer you back. But all of those platforms. And man, just let's go on this ride together, man. Let's move culture together. I'm excited about it.
All right, awesome. Well, Van, thanks so much for being here.
No problem,
my man.
Brother. It was fun.
All right, everybody. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, get your lazy asses up. November 6th is election day. So next time we do the show, I want to hear everybody tweeting me about, hey, Chris, because of you, we went and voted. But we'll check you out. Thanks. This is Chris for The Last Retort and Van Lathan once again. All right. See you later.
Peace.
Yeah.